id Software, with just 60 developers, saved Doom. There's no question about it. They completely brought it back from irrelevance. And then, with 200 and 300 developers, they managed to turn the Doom that they once saved into something that doesn't even feel like Doom. I'll be completely honest. Doom the Dark Ages? I don't even look at it as a Doom game. It just seems like someone is trying to imitate Doom, but they don't really understand what the hell they're doing. This is the best way that I can describe what id Software has done to Doom in the modern day after saving it. And now the developers of id Software are pretty upset about the fact that a lot of them are getting laid off, and they are expressing this. And needless to say, no one likes what they have to say. Ain't that right, Chris? Yes, our boy Chris is gonna tell us all of the hardships, problems, what developers face, and how they shouldn't have been fired because that's a bad thing. Now, personally, I call it a good thing, but hey, let's listen to a completely insane out of touch opinion.
Yeah, there's a lot of speculation online about what's going to happen and what are we doing at the end of the day. It's hard to say. Like it it is hard to make a game that is AAA that's like we've done before with half the people.
Right.
And by hard I mean impossible.
Yeah, yeah.
It's hard to make a game when there are entire departments that are gutted that you need, entire disciplines that are gone.
So this is obviously a completely insane opinion because id Software made the Doom comeback with less people than they have currently. And now this guy is unironically saying, "Oh, it's impossible." Really? Really? Then how did it happen in the first place? This?
So if they've got some kind of new plan for how this is going to work, that hasn't been told. We don't we don't know what that is. So
By the way, if you're assuming this person's politics, yeah, I am also. I mean, I think we're all on the same page. What what they most likely are.
the reassurances that we're still the same id and we're still going to do things, well, first of all, we're not the same id.
Good. Fans don't want you to be the same company that made Dark Ages. It's a disappointment.
We're half the same id. Like, id was the people. What made us special was the people and the relationships we have. It's not the IP. That's not our name doesn't matter. It was the relationships we build and the experience that we had together. So are we the same id now? No, we're not. Studio management is given talking points on the things that are allowed to be said and what is not allowed to be said. And it feels like it is instead more reassurances. They don't want more people to jump ship and say, "Oh, there's no more future in id, so we're all going to leave," and then there's no one left. They don't want unrest, and so at the end of the day, most of it was just trying to tell us that, oh no, everything's fine and things will be okay.
I wonder if this actually works like that in these woke game industries, in these companies. That these people actually would ever willingly quit a job. I really don't feel like that's a real thing that would ever happen on mass, especially.
That you know the same lines that they said publicly, like, "Oh, well, we're the size of Doom 2016. We're close to that same size, and so
Yeah.
we shipped
Good.
that game, so we could ship another game."
Yeah.
Things of that
Which
nature.
seems to be false to begin with, right? Because if you look at the credits for Doom 2016, there's more people in there credited for id Software than remain at the studio at this point.
Yeah. That there is a reason they say close to, because it is less. Also, it does discount that we had at the time Escalation, which is now BGS Dallas, helping us, and Certain Affinity for the multiplayer. So, like, the single player was largely done by id, but we worked with other studios for other parts of the game. And Doom 2016,
Yeah, that's called outsourcing. You can do it again. It's literally just finding someone who's gonna do a job you want them to do. It's called supply and demand. Kind of capitalism. But Mustache Man here probably doesn't believe in that. He believes in good old communism. If I had to take a guess, obviously.
Was significantly smaller than the Dark Ages, and the quality bar is way higher.
Yeah, it's
People
10
will
years
debate
ago.
on what they like about the gameplay versus not. We do like making games that are different from each other, not do the same thing for each one. So that, but like there's a
Okay, you see, this is the problem. The developers are like, oh, we want to do something for... Don't! We choose what you do. If we like a mechanic, you better put that mechanic in, boy. If we dislike something, you better fucking throw that shit out. What do you mean you're gonna be a developer and you're gonna be like, oh no, we're making this for ourselves. We're gonna sell 5 copies. That's why you got fired, bitch. What is this? What are these opinions? Honestly, if someone here, if I owned a company and someone said this, it would be like, bye bye, bye bye. This is not the place for you. Bye bye.
lot more polish. There's a lot more that went into each of the games that went along. We made bigger and better games. But that's with twice as many people as we had.
If the games were better, then why did the games the audience so much? Why?
So we have fewer than we had before. So are we going to make something equivalent to a single player Xbox 360 game?
Mhm.
Because that's the size of the studio we had. Yeah.
What did that?
None of this makes sense, by the way. Is this guy like low-key currently saying that Doom 2016 was bad? Because that's kind of what it sounds like. Strange.
Due to
Microsoft is the one calling the shots on most of it. And they're the ones who are deciding what the future of it is, even when they know nothing about games, nothing about id, barely even recognize us in public statements when they just say Bethesda and leave out id. We notice, and we realize how much that feels like we're being
Oh yeah, some hot pigs, baby.
sidelined, like we're not even thought about it in the company.
Beautiful.
And when you cut half of us, it seems to be your dollars reinforce that you don't value id.
Completely spaced out, but whatever he said is bad.
And I do not believe studio management would have wanted to cut 50% of the company. There's no way. They care about the game too. But it did happen. And there's
Studio management doesn't want to cut 50% of the studio because that would prove that they're idiots and they overhired like hell.
I mean, at this point, there's no coming back from that. These are people's lives that have been completely uprooted.
What the hell is this guy even? Let me try and Google him on the second monitor.
Even if a magic wand waved and everyone got their jobs back, plenty of people have lost their trust and they will never trust Microsoft again. They'll never work for a Microsoft studio again. Talking to a lot of friends throughout the industry, they have burned a lot of bridges. It's not just us, but when they see us, who they're like, we want a job at id because it's a stable job. It would have been a stable, like we originally we were told we hire to retire, so we were ready to just be there until we retired.
Okay, this guy's name is Chris Eyes, it seems like. Let's check good old Moby Games.
And no one believes that anymore. Then the same financial statements that Microsoft puts out for everyone. Maybe studio management knows, but we don't. On the ground level, we don't get to know what that is.
Okay, this guy has worked on Rage, Wolfenstein, The New Order, Doom, Quake Champions, which failed, I think, pretty fast, sadly. Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, Doom VFR, Fallout 76 as development service programmers. So this is just a programmer. He's the lead programmer for Doom Dark Ages. Interesting. It also doesn't show any credits for him in Doom 2016, which is also interesting. He's right there in Doom Eternal, Part 1 and 2. Well, Doom Eternal, the Ancient Gods, I should say. But yeah, he was not there in Doom 2016. So this is why this guy's yapping so much. He's afraid. I don't know if he's still actually working here or did he get fired. But yeah, this is why this guy's yapping. He was brought in after 2016. He has no experience making making 2016. He was there at Eternal when already the bloat was pretty big, and honestly, Eternal just overshot by a lot of expectations for most people. And yeah, so this guy obviously doesn't understand how can you make a game with 60 people, or 50 people, or 70 people, or whatever the amount is. Because this guy has always just been a simple cog in the machine, even if he was theoretically a lead service programmer, which is just a fancy way of saying I have been in the same job position and have never elevated myself in 10 years, but still.
We can have guesses just like everyone else. I know that we have serious issues with how Game Pass is done. Like whenever we see the financial reports that say that there were, poor sales under Bethesda, like, what's a sale? If you have Game Pass, are you saying that poor sales means poor number of games sold? Because of course, you're not doing a
Are you saying if we sell a game poorly, then the game has sold poorly? Guys, this fucking guy is the next Buddha at this point. He's a philosopher.
game sold business model, and they fundamentally don't understand art. Like they don't understand art. They don't understand games. They don't understand.
That's right, bald mustache suspenders guy told you you don't understand art. Oh Jesus!
And that business model, and as a result, the idea that, well, you need to think multiple years, not 1 year at a time. Like, part of me thinks that they're looking
Dude, this guy's like 5 seconds away from making a post saying that all white male developers should be replaced.
at fiscal year 2027, and they see that we don't make money in 2027 because we released a game already. Like,
Wait, I'm sorry, what?
like, part of me thinks that they're looking at fiscal year 2027, and they see that we don't make money in 2027 because we released a game already. Like, it's hard to know since they don't tell us anything, but it is
It's currently fiscal year 2026. I really don't think that he knows what fiscal year is, what it means. He probably is saying fiscal year 2027 because he doesn't understand why fiscal years actually go into the next year for like 2 or 3 or 4, or depending on the company, actually months.
clear that the way they do accounting, the way that they align their spreadsheets for their financial reports, is not the
Oh, he has heard a little bit more buzzwords.
way we used to do it.
Align spreadsheet. Yes, yes.
It's not a how much did this game make profit and loss, because when we did know information before, we were always very profitable. We always made successful games, critically and in sales.
I'm checking if the camera is lagging, by the way. I saw a stutter for once. It's really annoying.
It's hard to know for under Microsoft now, because with Game Pass, what is a sale? And does that mean that we suffer if we don't have
Now, I will say this. Granted, it is kind of hard to judge what Microsoft would consider a Game Pass success in, the small things. but we know what we can roughly estimate. No one knows the exact answer because Microsoft has never stated this, but we obviously know and understand that, just logically speaking, financially, a game that's on Game Pass that is successful will show people log in more. There's going to be easily metrics. More Game Pass players log in. There's a spike in Game Passes bought, and things like that. The game in general has a high number of players. That is going to be considered a successful average release for a game. And I'm saying average because most likely Battlefield Black Ops 7 did reach relatively decent numbers on Game Pass or whatever, or whatever was the last Game Pass Battlefield or whatever. It's a lot of whatever. But, that's an exception because there's a lot of reasons why that's an exception, by the way. But for normal situations, like I said previously, there's probably very fundamentally easy statistics that we can look at and judge is it, success or not.
A lot of sales, but also we suffer if we don't have a lot of players on Game Pass. It's never been clear. Like, we've wanted to know specifically what do we need to hit. And this started coming up as soon as they started closing studios 2 years ago. We had people asking to Microsoft, like, what are the metrics we should hit? We love metrics. That just tell us, like, what are the goals? Like, we will design a game optimized for the thing that you think is good, which obviously has its own problems. Like, we should be making games.
No. Again, the metrics for why people play a game is very simple. Is the game good or is the game bad? They, needless to say, have failed finding these metrics. So whatever Microsoft gives them the metric, they're incapable of achieving.
That are good. That as art forms, it should be something that is expressed. But being good stewards of Microsoft's investment, what would you like? And we can't get straight answers. In my personal opinion, I don't know how it can go back to what it was. That trust is a really fragile thing. It takes work to build up, but it's...
You're an employee! What trust? You're getting paid to do a thing. Shut up and do it. You know when I trust my employees? When they do the stuff I pay them to do. That's when you trust people, okay? If I'm getting paid to do one thing and I do it, I think my employers are gonna trust me. If I'm getting paid to do one thing and I don't do it, I'm probably a liberal. And that's bad. In any case, yeah, this guy probably doesn't really understand anything. He's just more or less crying about the situation. And it's gonna be a struggle, boys, because now I need to find a good facial expression from this guy, which looks kinda angry and contempt, okay? It's gonna... Is that it? That's a little bit of sadness. Oh, we got it. Yes. This is pretty good. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Bye.